How are you, Ding Dong Diddly, doing there, Gamerinos? Hope you're having a flanderific day. What the fuck? What the fuck? How? How are you here? I had to grab a picture of that. I don't even know how that's fucking possible. That's crazy. This is something fucking wild. Like, what? This is not this is not what I needed right now. I'm already, like, deeply confused as it is, but, like, where? How? How is this possible? The only portal... There's one portal here. It couldn't have come from here, because the door was closed. And I don't think there's a way for it to go out. And here's another one. Again, let's see, is there a way out? I don't think there's a way out from here, which would eliminate that as a possibility of where it could have come from. Yeah, no way out up here. That's closed. I don't think there's any balconies here. There's no balcony here. That door is closed. Unless they can open doors. I don't think pigmen can open doors, though. Yeah, so okay. No way it came from here. Almost certainly. Unless it fucking opened a door. Right. So there's just that one. And then there's this one that's over here. But in order for that to have worked, it would have needed to have come out here somewhere, wandered its way up the bubble elevator, swam its way out, and fucking booked it all the fuck the way over here. How is this possible? I'm so confused. That shouldn't be possible. Did it just despawn? Where the fuck did it go? What the fuck? It's gone. It's just gone. What the hell? What was that? It's just gone. What the fuck? No, genuinely, what the fuck? No way. What the fuck? That is beyond fucking weird. Didn't go in here, did it? What in the hell is going on? What is this? The only other theory I've got is that a lightning strike must have happened. But I don't think it was thundering at all. That does look oxidized, or not fully oxidized, so it's possible that got struck with lightning. So I suppose maybe that's what happened. Maybe he got struck by lightning over here and just wandered in. That I suppose makes the most sense, but That still don't make no damn sense. Because it wasn't here. It wasn't here, I swear, last time I played. That fucking bizarre. And took me for a damn loop. Oh, where's the other camel? Shouldn't there be a zombie camel? Do I have to get another fucking zombie camel? Zombie camel. Holy shit, I can't speak. Oh no, here he is. He's chilling. He's chilling. Is the zombie horse still chilling? The zombie horse is still chilling. I had to throw him in here because he kept fucking dying for no reason in the other one, even though he's totally covered. Whatever. Alright, wow. Yeah, so there was such a sure, like, ironically, truth, you know, like, I would label it truth, which I don't throw that around. People like to throw that around, like, oh, your truth, my truth. Like, no, there is one truth, and it is the truth. It is objective. But man, like, again, I was pretty certain on this, but I am no longer sure, and it's the title of the video, right? There is no lie without the truth, which you would think makes sense because the lie is predicated upon the truth. But then my boss was like, well, there is no truth without the lie, because how can you tell what is true if you don't know the lie? But it's like, I'm not positive on that, because like I said, the truth is predicated upon the lie. Or the lie is predicated upon the truth, sorry. And it's like I can say that I'm holding my sword right now, right? But it's a chicken, right? And you know, if I was holding nothing in my hand at all, and I mean, you can see. All right, I'm explaining this wrong. You can start with the truth. I am holding a piece of chicken, right? But like, I don't think you can start with a lie. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can start with a lie, because like, if I'm now saying I'm holding chicken in my hand, like, no, I'm not, you know, because the truth is there's a bucket in my hand. And I don't know. I'm just not sure I can buy that whole thing, you know? But I've also heard that, like, sometimes you can start with a lie, but I don't know if I necessarily buy that either. You know, like, an example of that would be, I'm going to win the lottery tomorrow. And it's like, I can see where they're going with that, because, well, I mean, I guess that, in my case, that would be a lie, as I have not bought a lottery ticket. Well, you know, I could say I'm going to get hit by a car tomorrow. Hopefully that does not turn out to be true. But I could say that, and it's like, but I don't know if I'm going to be hit by a car. So it could be true, but it also could be a lie. But since I've made the statement beforehand, and the truth will only come later, then how are we to know if it's... But then again, I feel like the truth is the truth. I'm trying to think this out and come up with words that make sense of it, of what's going through my head as I'm trying, because I'm thinking this out as I'm saying it. You know, there's the truth of the matter, and you at that point can't say if it is the truth or a lie until the truth is uncovered. In which case it would be it's Schrodinger's statement, because it is equally the truth and equally a lie at the same time until it happens. If that makes sense. So I feel like the truth always comes before the lie, unless if it's Schrodinger's statement, where it is equally the truth and equally a lie until it is confirmed. And with the whole, like, how do we know the truth, you know, without the lie, I feel like I can say for certain that this is a green dasher in my hand. Well, there was a green dasher in my hand, and I don't need to know what it is not to know what it is. But I don't even know if that makes sense. Because, I mean, sometimes you need to know what it is not to know what it is. This is very fucking confusing. And if you're following along, you see my confusion now on this whole matter. Like, it's an oddly weird thing, you know, to like ponder on. And the more I'm thinking about it, like, the more it might make sense, you know, the whole, like, you know what something is by what it is not. Because that's how you differentiate things. But I guess that comes down to our statements, things, though. But I mean, I guess not, but they're based upon things. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. Also, I promise I have not been smoking weed. I know that this whole statement, this whole idea, this whole like thought process is something you would expect out of someone who is just smoked a bowl, but I promise you that is not the case. I am just considering philosophy, I suppose. And I would say that the line between philosopher and pothead are, well, it's a thin line. It's a very thin line. With some overlap, I suppose. I mean, it's a real mind fuck. I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. Because it's like, you know, I know that is a cod, right? Because it is not colorful like any of the other fish. It is not, you know, as big as a salmon. So it's like I don't know. And the crazy part is I really, when he was saying that, I really was not thinking too deeply on it, for a couple of reasons. I don't know. We may get back to pondering on that. We'll put a pin in it for right now. But I was a bit focused on some other things. Well, I mean, I guess for one, was just like, I guess you could call it a debate I was having with someone on X, which essentially is the same thing now that I think about it, but I have a more definitive answer for that, and I'll explain how. Which was, good had to have come before evil, because evil is the opposite of good. You know, and that was one of my examples. Is there is no lie without the truth. You know, there is no stealing, you know, before you, like, earn things yourself, I suppose. Someone has to earn something for it to then be stolen. You know, there is no rape if there is no sex. Like that kind of thing, where it's like, you know, you need your good thing first before you can have your bad. But I guess ultimately, at the end of the day, it becomes the same thing as there is no truth without the lie. Or, well, I mean, either or, I suppose. Though I tend to think that there is no lie without the truth. I tend to lean in that camp, but it definitely is a deeper philosophical question than you might consider. But the reason I feel quite confident, and I couldn't use this because we were doing more of a secular debate. The reason that I can confidently say that good came before evil is because, well, God tells us that. You know, that's not too tricky. God tells us that. But if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in the Bible, if that doesn't do anything for you, then you must prove it another way, using just logic and reasoning, which is where that whole thing came into. So I was thinking more of the broader, like, how I was going to answer that guy. Because he was trying to tell me it was circular reasoning to say that, well, I had initially said good is an inversion of the truth, but I suppose, or good is an inversion, or evil is an inversion of good. Holy shit. This has literally broke my brain. To the point where I can't speak. So yeah, evil is an inversion of good. And he said that was circular reasoning, and I was like, that's kind of nonsense. That's not it, you know. Which, I mean, I am right. That's not circular reasoning. That's pretty definitional there, actually. But, because, I mean, things can be neither good nor evil. There are neutral things. It's not just like everything that isn't good is evil. You know, that's not the way that works. It's not just good and evil. They're very neutral things. You know? Like, I don't know, if you want to dig a hole, digging a hole is neither good nor bad. I mean, I guess it depends on the situation. If you're to dig a hole on your neighbor's property and they don't want a hole there, then yeah, that wouldn't be so good. If you needed to dig a hole to, like, help someone escape a mine shaft, then that would be good. But I mean, if you're just digging a hole to dig a hole on your own property, then it's really neither good nor bad, now is it? It just kind of is, you know? It's a neutral. Yeah, no, if I was to say that, yeah, everything that is not good is evil, that would be circular reasoning. Anyway. The other thing, and this one is much easier. This one is far easier. So I've talked about this before, how I don't really believe in, that we should have licenses. What the? Are you still attacking me, you butthole? I'm gonna punch you again for that, you fucking butthole. Yeah, take that, butthole. Yeah, he's a butthole. So, yeah, anyway, you know, I'm a firm believer that we should not have licenses, and that, you know, if anyone wants to go and become a doctor, they can become a doctor, right? And that we should have, like, a certificate program instead, where, you know, it would essentially, you'd have to do all of the things that licensed doctors do, but you don't. The difference between a license and a certificate is you cannot practice without a license, but with a certificate, you can practice without a certificate. It's just that you are not as qualified, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I was talking about that, how, you know, my libertarian wonderland, I suppose, that, you know, that's how it should be, you know? And she was like, I don't agree with that, I don't like that. And I was basically like, well, that's your choice, though. You don't have to go to someone who's without a certificate. You can go ahead and go to someone who has a certificate. But if you don't want to, that's your choice, you know? Like, there's risk involved, sure, but it's like, I have the freedom to jump off a bridge if I do so wish to jump off a bridge. You know, and it might be fine. I might go ahead and, like, you know, land in the water and be totally cool, or I might, like, die, right? And that's my choice to make. And, you know, you might be like, fuck that. That sounds like a bad idea. I'm not going to jump. And that's your choice, right? Total freedom. But she actually mentioned something that I was like, that's actually a quite good, quite nuanced point that I hadn't considered. She was saying that when she was a kid, she needed back surgery, but her parents didn't want to get her the back surgery, and if she didn't get it, she was going to essentially be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. So the state ended up coming in and was like, you got to get her this surgery, right? It's like, okay, that's, you know, that is fair. That is fair, because there are definitely some parents out there that don't have their kids' best interest in mind, and the kids are at the mercy of the parents. So it's like, okay, all right, I can see that. You know, that is a very fair. That is the best point anyone has ever had against what I argue for. That has been the best point I've ever seen. So I was just, you know, I was thinking about that, and I was like, wow, you know, like I'm genuinely very impressed with her. Because it's not like, I'm just gonna say it's not a stupid point, you know, it's not stupid. It, you know, it makes sense, and like it's something to where I was like, wow, I'm actually going to have to like change my opinion on this. I'm still for it, but like I can understand there being an exception to where, like, if you're under the age of 18 or you have special needs, they have to be taken to a certified doctor. That makes sense. I am okay with this. That seems totally and completely reasonable. And then she was trying to say the whole thing was bad. This is where she lost me. She was trying to say the whole thing is bad because essentially people are too fucking retarded to be able to make a well-informed decision. And it's like, she was like bringing up like, oh, you know, like most people aren't even reading at like, you know, the level they should be reading at for their age. And it's like, yeah, but who's going to be the one to tell her that they do already make decisions for themselves? They already do that. They're adults. They're grown-ass people who, if they so chose, could refuse a surgery, a life-saving surgery, or a serious surgery. And it's like, but again, that's their choice, though. Are we to take away free choice? Or the freedom to choose merely because someone's a fucking retard? Like, again, I could see in the case of medicinal things, you know, taking away a right to choose if it's someone with special needs or if it's a child, you know, where it's like they can't make an informed decision on their own because of circumstances, like certain circumstances, you know, like, you know, not having a fully developed brain, being a child, or, you know, having special needs to where it's like they're not able to be on the same mental level as you know, the average person would be, I think is a nice way to say that. But yeah, and these are very vulnerable groups. These are two very vulnerable groups, and they should be protected. So I can see that you know, that makes sense to me. But again, if someone is just retarded, right? If they want me, ultra mega okay, me, to go through and do their brain surgery, right, for like a sixth of the cost, that's their choice. You know, they're again, they're an adult. So I you know, I think that argument she made was bullshit. You know, that just because they're retarded and they don't, and she was also talking about like they don't, they, you know, they won't be able to make an informed decision. It's like, no, that's extra bullshit. That's extra bullshit. Because I don't care how fucking stupid, I don't care how hee-haw retarded you are. There is the internet. There is AI. We are in the generation that should be the smartest generation, considering we have the most information at our fingertips at any point in all of fucking society, in all of human history, in the entire history of the universe. We right now, well, I mean, actually, I guess I can't say that because there may be aliens out. In the history of the Earth, in the history of the solar system, right? There's never been anyone who's had more access to information than us right now. And if you choose to be retarded, if you choose to not do your due diligence, if you choose to not research and make an informed decision, that's on you. You're an adult. And if we're going to go around saying that they shouldn't be allowed to make those choices because they're retarded, it's like, well, where does that stop, though? Is that freedom? Is that freedom, you know? Like, let's see, what else? You know, I'm not going to say you're a retard for doing this, but motorcycles are unsafe. Does that mean that we should stop people from buying motorcycles because, you know, there's a higher mortality rate on motorcycles? Should we stop that? Like, should we force them to get a car, a safe car? Should we force people to go to the doctor if they're feeling sick but they don't want to go to the doctor? You know, should we force Should we force communists to, like, read economics books? I mean, probably, but, you know, that is their freedom to be ignorant motherfuckers, you know? That is their freedom, though they would not grant us the same freedom, you know? To not read communist propaganda if they were in charge, you know? But yeah, no, that is 100% their free choice. We live in America, and if you want to be a retard, guess what? I may not agree with it, I may look at you sideways and think, your mama did not raise you right. You ain't got no damn sense. But you know what? That is your right as an American citizen to be as fucking retarded as you want. If you want to light yourself on fire, I mean, I would say you probably should actually spend some time in a mental hospital. Maybe that wasn't the greatest thing. But, like, I don't know. If you want to go ahead and, like, shave off all of your hair, get fucking Skittles tattooed on your forehead, and run around butt naked in your backyard in the rain, well, then guess what? That is America, damn it. That is America, alright? That is your right to do that. And again, as retarded as all of that is, who am I to tell you can't do that? Now, if you're running around butt naked out in the middle of the street, that's another story. But, like, if you're doing it in your backyard, right, in your fenced-off backyard where no one can see it, have at it, you know? And she was talking about, like, the community, and it's like, there's something to be said, you know, for, like, trying to make the community a better place, but it is ultimately not your responsibility. Right? Like, I mean, I think you should, right? I think you should want to make your community a better place. I think you should want to participate in capitalism, in society, you know, in the church. But, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, that is your choice. No one else's. And the second that we start making decisions for grown-ass adults, that is a sad day for freedom. You know, that is a sad day if we start telling people you can't do that because it's bad for you. You know? Which is why I kind of struggle with the whole drug thing. Because drugs are bad, okay? But at the same time, it's like, who am I to tell you not to do that, though? Like, I can go ahead and say you shouldn't do that, you know, like, drugs are bad, okay? But, like, if you are dead set on smoking crack, like, I'm sorry. Who am I to tell you no? Do I like that we have laws against smoking crack? Yes, I like that. I like that quite a bit. But from the standpoint of freedom, I don't think that should be a thing. You know? Am I going to change? Do I want to change the law to reflect that? No, we have it in place, and it does that objectively makes for a better society. All right, it's a little hypocritical, but at the same time, like if it was up to me, if we were to rewrite the laws, I don't think I could make crack illegal. I don't think I could do it. You know? I don't think I could do it. I could definitely make it harsher for people that are, like, you know, cracked out on the street, fucking breaking into places and, like, you know, loitering and fucking, you know, smoking crack in the street. You know, I could say, you gotta do that, you know, in your house or something, not in public spaces. I think that's fair, you know, because for as much as right that you have to smoke crack, other people also have the right to enjoy and use public spaces free from you not doing crack, you know? Because that is their decision to not smoke crack or to not want to, like, have crackheads, you know, doing stupid shit, like burning shit down. It's like, if you want to do that at your house, that, you know, that's another story. That's another story. I you know, because freedom is about you doing whatever you please, so long as it doesn't infringe upon other people's freedom. That's the way it works. So it's like, I don't think, you know, I could make it illegal to smoke crack. I don't think I could do it. I really don't. But I'm also not going to overturn that. You know? Because, again, I think it does make for an objectively better society than people just, you know, smoking crack. But yeah, you know, like, I don't know. Freedom is a delicate thing to balance, and you know, the truest form of being free is being free to make terrible decisions. And that's my soapbox on that. That's my soapbox on that. So, like I said, overall, I was impressed with the one argument, but on the other hand, the other argument was retarded. I hate to say it, but yeah. And I unfortunately didn't have the time to tell her that, you know, that is, I barely got it out, but I didn't want to interrupt her also, you know? For as dumb as I thought the point was, you know, I don't find that to be polite. Do you know, just cut her off and be like, you know, well, actually, you know. And it was towards the end of the day too, so it's not like I really had the time to go through it and really, you know, get into the nuances. I didn't have the time for that soapbox speech that I just made. But yeah, no, I you know, like I said, the one I found to be quite what's the word? Compelling. Found that to be quite compelling, and, like, to a point where, like, my view has been permanently altered by it. Like, I found that to be such a good argument. Because, you know, there are vulnerable people, you know, like children and special needs that, you know, might be hurt by, you know, people who may not have their best interest in mind. Yeah. And, you know, I would feel bad, you know, if that girl that I, you know, was talking to, if my policy put her in a wheelchair for the rest of her life because, you know, her parents purposefully, you know, cheaped out to the point where it caused her irreparable damage. You know, if they just, but the thing is, at the same time, though, if it was her father, right, that cheaped out on his own surgery and it left him irreparably damaged, I wouldn't feel bad about it. Because that was his choice. He's a consenting adult. If he decided to not do his due diligence, well then, who's to blame for that? Why, him, of course, because it's about responsibility. There is no freedom without responsibility. As a matter of fact, responsibility is like, it goes hand in hand with freedom. You know? You can't have freedom without responsibility. You know? And you can't have responsibility without freedom, either. Maybe. I'm pretty sure on that. Well, I mean, well... Nah, actually, I'll take that back, because, like, you know... If you decide to stay in the country, I suppose... That would be... You would be the one responsible for not, you know, at least trying to escape. I mean, I suppose if you tried to escape and you kept getting caught and sent back to this country that wasn't free, you know, like North Korea or something, and you never escaped and you kept getting caught, and in this scenario, I guess North Korea wouldn't just insta-kill you at the second time, or maybe even the first time, I guess, depending. Then I would say, no, you're not responsible for that, because, you know, well, maybe, you know, it depends. It depends on the situation in which you were caught. If you were caught because you did something stupid, well then, yeah, then you're responsible for that. But, you know, if it's something that you can't really help, if it's just bad luck, I don't know if you're really responsible for that. But, yeah. So I guess we'll just stick with there is no freedom without a responsibility. You get to learn one of the greatest joys in life. Personal responsibility. Wow, you know, I didn't think I'd be becoming Hank Hill, you know. And, you know, as a kid, that's always the world I wanted to live in. Like, I guess I never really knew I was a libertarian, because I didn't really know what that is. I can't even call myself a libertarian, to be fair. But I have a lot of libertarian-leaning policies that I quite like. But, like, I always believed that it should be incumbent upon you, on how to manage and go through your life, you know? And I don't, you know, really like the idea of, like, people telling you how to live your life, you know? Like, I like the idea of suggestion, but, you know... Like telling you, oh, you gotta have health insurance. Fuck you. If I don't want health insurance and, you know, I wanna, like, you know, drown in fucking hospital bills, I should be able to do that, you know? I should be able to do that. I shouldn't need to have health insurance. Go fuck yourself, Obama. You know? But then again, also, if you didn't need to have a fucking license, then health insurance costs would not be as high. Or, well, yeah, health insurance and the hospital would not cost as much. Very simple, you know? Not very difficult concepts to grasp. I'm surprised Slicks hasn't come in. Probably saw I was playing Minecraft and didn't want to come in. I was gonna go through the fish, but I kind of don't want to go through the fish right now. So, fuck it. We're just gonna end the episode. We can go through the fish another time. Man. Is that a unique... I hope that's not a unique fish. It's not. Cool. Kinda wish there was a good way, like a way I could, like, auto-sort these fish. You know? But there's just not.